Anybody ever read Psalm 92? If you really apply the words of Psalm 92, if you apply it to you, it is a potential life changer. All by itself. A decade from now, some of you may tell some of your friends, I remember Sunday in 2025, this dude, I don't even remember his name, preached this sermon, and it changed me forever. And don't remember me, remember the sermon. Now, about a month ago, I ran into this guy. We'll call him Matt. I don't want to expose him. He came to church last Easter. So I saw him, I said, hey, what's up, man? I recognized him. He recognized me. I said, hey, what's up? I missed you, man. Where you been? He's like, I'd love to come to church if I can just find time. I said, what do you mean find a time? So, I spend my summers at the lake quite a bit. I go to the lake when I get a chance, or I'm always in Des Moines, or I got kids, and they take up a lot of my time, and I really don't have time to go to church. But I'd love to come if I can. I said, you're always welcome here. He says, by the way, can you pray for my marriage? Can you pray for my job, my finances? The fact that I really don't have anybody to talk to, can you pray for me on this? I said, of course I can pray for you. But it got me thinking, isn't that what we're for? Aren't we here to be people to talk to? So the title of this sermon is Stop Going to Church. Now, don't get this wrong. I don't want you to stay home next Sunday. Okay? But I want you to start looking at church a little bit differently. I've been screaming for about 2 months now, we're going after a community. When you stop going to church, per se. See, God's highest calling in our life was never go to church. His calling in our life was become like Him, be Christ-like, to be spiritually strong, to impact other lives, to love other people. That was His highest calling on our life. To flourish was His calling on our life. And if you read Psalms 92, I'm going to read 12 through 15 first, and I'm going to do you a favor and try not to wear my glasses so it doesn't distract you. The righteousness will flourish like a palm tree. They will grow like a cedar of Lebanon, planted in the house of the Lord. They will flourish in the courts of our God. They will still bear fruit at an old age, and they will stay fresh and green, proclaiming the Lord is upright. He is my rock. Think about that for a second. I'm sure I didn't say it as poetically as the psalmist, but it's okay. There's so much love imagery in this passage. The righteous will flourish. I don't know anybody around me that said, I don't know any pastors that ever told me that if you're righteous, you'll flourish. But we do know people that say we should grow spiritually. We do know people that say we should be strong. We should have faith. I love it where it says the old will bear fruit. It goes back to what I'm saying. There's no expiration date on ministry in this Bible. There's no retirement date. Retirement date is when you're pushing up flowers, my friends. There's always something. That you'll be fresh and green. You'll succeed, grow, thrive, prosper, and increase. That's Scripture. That ain't me. That's what it says. But unfortunately, we don't experience these things as Christians very often. So many Christians, instead of flourishing, are spiritually dry. So many of us aren't thriving, but we're emotionally exhausted. So many of us are not connected to anyone, and relationally we're barren. Instead of prospering, we're stressed out about everything money-wise. Instead of fulfilled, we're searching for anything that matters. Even in a church, this is a problem. I understand it from the people that don't go to church. But why is it a problem in our house? Why is it a problem in people that every Sunday get up here and praise to Jesus that you're everything, but we don't live our lives like He's everything? Let's talk about trees for a minute. We got some gardeners here. Some of us like to plant trees. But there's two trees I want to talk about for certain. Palm trees and cedar trees. Let's start with the cedar tree. They're really durable. They're actually what Solomon used to line the beams of the temple, his temple. That's what he built the temple with, was cedars. He made the roof out of cedar. And the thing lasted for centuries. So what do we know about cedar? If you can afford to buy cedar, it's pretty darn tough. Right? I don't think you can afford to buy any wood right now, can you, Jim? It ain't pretty. Yeah. It's attractive. It looks nice. It smells good. Any of you ladies were given a cedar chest when you were younger? Those things smell good today, don't they? They really, really do. But they're pretty darn durable, too. And when you think about palm branches, we were talking about those a couple weeks ago. They're a symbol of triumph and victory. The Romans awarded Olympic champions palm branches. Jesus entered Jerusalem. They waved palm branches, declaring Him king. Let's not talk about what happened at the end of that week. They're both evergreens. They both thrive. They both produce life year-round. And they flourish. I like trees. I probably couldn't grow one. But one thing we did love about Kentucky was all the trees. And mountains covered with trees. It was really, really cool. I do miss it a little bit, but it's okay. But trees start out from a seed. About dot in your hand, right? What if I told you your life is also a seed? You have the potential to grow. You have the potential to multiply. You have the potential to thrive, and you have the potential to bear fruit. You have that potential. You also have the potential to be unfruitful. You can be dormant. You can be unproductive, and you can be barren. It all matters what you do with that seed. You get A or you get B. I don't think you get in the middle very well. But you got the choice here. Because, my friends, a seed can only do something if you put it in the ground. It can only do something if you bother to plant it. And if you read Matthew 13, it talks about that. He threw seed everywhere. Some of it was on rocky ground. Some of it was in this place. Some of it was in that place. So some of it took root and really grew. Because, my friends, those who are planted, according to this scripture, in the house will flourish. Now here's where I'm going to step on your toes. Going to church is not the same as being planted. There are a lot of people going to church this morning that sadly are as headed to hell as much as they were before they ever walked through a church doors. Not because they're not planted, because they haven't accepted Christ. But we got so many people in the church that don't understand that going to church doesn't mean being planted. I mean, I can go to church, but going to church sounds like this. I go to church when I can. I go to church when I'm not too busy. I go to church when I'm not tired. I go to church when, there's not a game that I have to be at, or in my case, a football game on TV. But I'm not going to serve. Aren't you thankful that when Jesus was on that cross, He didn't say, I'm really not feeling it today. I really got stuff to do. Service? No. Just saying. But you know what planted looks like? We never say, I think we're going to church tomorrow. Because the question is not, are we going to church? The question is, are we going to get here early? Or are we going to be scrambling at the last minute to get here? But we're going to be at church. And not only am I going to go to church, and I've tried to instill this in my family, we're going to do something when they're there that benefits Him, not us. If you don't see me, so be it. See the work. See what I'm doing. See, God's church, if you really think about it, is not just a part of our lives. God's church is our lives. So my friends, I encourage you, stop going to church. Get planted. See, some of us go to church, we want to experience God's grace, His glory, His presence. We get changed, and we don't get planted, and a few years later, we're not involved anymore. We're the Easter Christmas crowd. We see God as the ATM. When I really need something, I go pray a little bit. We're spiritually shaky at best. We may still believe in God, but there's no victory. There's no joy. No passion. No peace. No purpose. Your marriage is still flat and And gentlemen, if I ask how your marriage is, you go, meh, I'm worried. I'm sorry. Ladies, if we ask how your marriage is, you go, meh, and it's a consistent meh. I love her. Do we have our differences from time to time? Yes. But I don't know what I would do with her. Do without her. Or with her sometimes. She didn't hear a word I said. But so many of us go to church and we let the enemy speak in our ear of what we are or what we are not. And we just go, and we don't get involved, and we don't form relationships, and we become spiritually stale. I think that's the word I would use, stale. Who likes stale bread? Unless you make toast out of it, it's not very good, right? Nobody likes stale bread. Why should we like stale faith? Why should we like stale spirituality? Why should we settle for it? When we come here every week to get refreshed, so that if we're plugged in, we go out there and they get just a little splash of what you got in here. Just saying. People that are planted look like this, though. They experience God's presence. They are changed. They become strong, and you can see it in their lives. They get connected with a fellowship of believers. Maybe it's not everybody, but they got 3 or 4 people they connect with, and that's what we do in church. We usually don't hang out with everybody. We got our crew. They're blessed. Their life isn't perfect. They still have stuff, but they don't lose hope in spite of it. Their relationships are great. They're making a difference. They're spiritually vulnerable. Anybody, when's the last time you were spiritually vulnerable? Where God hit you with a 2x4 and you felt it all the time. Remember, I don't hear whispers. I got bad hearing. He hits me with 2x4s. He's like, now you're doing this wrong again. My friends, I want to tell you that church is not just a place to go. It's not a destination. As beautiful as this building is, it's not the church. I love this building. But as beautiful as it is, it's not the church. The church is people. The Greek word is ecclesia, which is assembled and called out. That's us, my friends. It's not this beautiful building. It is a facility to house the church and allow the church to reach its mission. But it is not the church. You sitting in the pews are the church. Time to start being the church, my friends. I love you, but it's time to start being the church. My friends, and your life is a seed. But in order for your seed to grow and flourish, you need to be planted. You need to be planted in a body of believers. So when you're planted, here's what happens. Your roots will grow deep. Listen to Jeremiah 17:8 for a moment. They are like trees planted on a riverbank with roots that reach deep into the water. Such trees are not bothered by the heat nor worried about the long months of drought. There's a bunch of redwood trees in California. Big suckers. Big. And they figured something out a few years ago. They're linked together. It's all one big organism. These trees get as tall as a 3-story building. A 30-story building, 3-story width. Their lateral roots reach 150 feet down from the trunk. These roots are intertwined between trees, literally holding each other up. So each tree needs the other tree to survive. If not, the harsh conditions that come in that area will eventually topple these huge trees. But they're kind of like Christians when they link arms in a trial. You can't knock them out very easily. But you can knock me down pretty darn easy by myself. If you don't feel like... I got ahead of myself, sorry. All week we go through opposition. All week we go through stuff, trials. We go through doubts. Anybody ever doubt? I usually doubt me more than I doubt God, but anybody ever doubt? How about struggles? Anybody struggling in the church every once in a while? Remember, I go to Walmart. I know we struggled. I went to Walmart. I saw Walmart this time. Could have been Jerry Springer. It was great. The argument I saw and everything, it was just amazing. I felt for him, but it would have been a great Jerry Springer episode. Anybody struggle with people? If you're in the people business, which the church is, but if your job is in the people business, there are people that we would just rather not deal with sometimes. Is that fair? Am I lying? Remember, I worked at Walmart during the pandemic. I know how you people really are. The open door is here is for you to connect. There's an open door here for you to connect. There's an open door for you to grow. There's an open door here for you to serve. The only person that doesn't want you to believe and wants you to think in your head that the church doesn't need you is the devil himself. He wants to isolate you because why is he going crazy trying to keep you out of church? Because he knows he can't do anything with you once you connect. He has no power over you in that case. It blows my mind. When I have isolated myself from the church in my Christian walk, I'm just going to say, Kevin, I've struggled more with my relationship with my own family. I've struggled more financially. I have struggled with this connection because this connection is part of that connection. Everything's amiss if I'm not in a body of believers. And if you've taken a few weeks or months, or like this guy, a year off church, you feel it. You feel it. I want you to do, she says I'm hyperactive up here. I'm going to tell you what I am. I'm thrilled to be up here. I am excited because I get to do something that when I was a baby Christian, like, I can't do that, and I'm doing it. I'm going to tell you, if you're really being used by God, if you're really in the middle of His will and you're doing stuff, I'm not hyperactive. The term I came up with was Christian cocaine. My friends, you get hooked. You want more. You're like, Lord, you're filling me and it's doing some cool stuff. Give me some more. Lord, I want to do more. Give me some more. And then eventually with me, He has to pull the reins and say, I can't give you any more, man. You're going too fast. It took me most of my Christian walk to just get this point. I was not saved from my sins, only from my sins. Yeah, that was what I thought my whole life. Get out of jail free card, Lord. He saved me for His glory. He saved me that something in my walk could glorify Him. He saved you not to sit on your blessed assurance on the fourth row. He saved you so you could get up and do something with what He's blessed you with. I wasn't just calling out the fourth row per se, and just the number that came to my head. Don't get self-conscious, guys. If you think about the word planted, the language involves not only just going to church, it means loving your church. And if for some reason you're like, I go to Fremont Community Church and I just don't feel like I belong, one thing, talk to me. Talk to some of the people who have been here longer than me. But more importantly, okay, find a place you can get involved. I'll shed a tear, but maybe I'm not for everybody. It's okay. But you got to be plugged in. Wherever you're at, you got to be plugged in. If you're going to go to another church because they'll soothe your ego, that's not why you go to another church. My friends, stop going to church. It's time to get planted. It's time to do something that God blessed us with. Do you really expect to defeat the powers of darkness if you only go to church once a month? If you're only going when you feel like it, the devil is winning. And some of y'all are like, I try to go on Sunday morning, and the devil does everything in his power to keep me in the house. Well, some of that's your own self. But you know why the devil's fighting so hard? Because he knows what you can be. He don't mind if you go to church and just sit there and go home and you get nothing from it. What he's afraid of is you're going to go there and something's going to light inside of you and you're going to take Fremont by storm, and that freaks him out because he's already got them and he don't want to lose them. Here's how you do this, man. Do you spend more time at coffee than you do with God? Do you spend more time on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or whatever social media is out this Tuesday in 1 hour than you do with God in a week? I tried this before. Guess what? Didn't work. And I want to encourage you that it's hard. Those big redwood trees did not grow overnight. There's going to be struggles, but look around you. Everybody take a look around. You're not alone. There are people who have been in the same place you are. I guarantee it. Lean on them. That's their job, is to help you grow. It's time to stop going to church. It's time to start being the church. And let's start wrapping this up. It's going to be a short one today. Y'all like that. What does a seed need to grow and flourish? It has to have soil, right? Well, the soil we're talking about in church is the heart. You got to have light. Bible. God's Word is a lamp unto my feet. Got to have water. What is Jesus? Living water. The temperature. Got to have optimal temperature for growth. That's why things don't grow in West Texas very well. The temperature is not optimal. Our growth is the fire of the Holy Spirit that if it catches on fire inside of you, you can't help it. You can't help it. And it needs time. It takes time. It takes roughly 20 years to grow a tree to its maturity, a decent size. Those redwoods have been going for hundreds of years. I ain't even going there. But you got to start somewhere. You got to plant somewhere. Today should be that day. My friends, we're going to reach a community. A community that, first of all, has an attitude about here that I don't think is accurate. But secondly, a community that doesn't know Jesus. Doesn't know Jesus. Maybe they went to a church and they treated them poorly. Does it happen? Yes, it happens. Maybe their grandmother went to a church and they treated her bad and it filtered down to her grandkids. It can be generational. It's time to do something different. The definition of insanity that I love so much is doing the same thing over and over and expecting something different to happen. I use this a lot with my kids when I was a school teacher because they still believed after 6 months that they could not turn in their work and pass my class, which ain't happening. It's time to do something different. Now, y'all done some different, but it's time to do some radically different things. So my encouragement is to you, stop going. Be planted. I want you to plant yourself in the house of the Lord. And if you do that and you do it faithfully, you will flourish. Now, with that, flourish to God and flourish to Kevin may look a little bit different. This is for my people that are realists. You think flourish and you think full bank account and you think this and that, and that's not always the case. But you get in the middle of what God has called you to. You get that Christian cocaine thing I was talking about that's just going to make y'all giggle for weeks. God will light something inside of you. You'll understand what flourish means. I have friends that watch me online, and I was like, "Where did that come from?" I was like, "I don't know." Yeah, I know. Jesus.